named Diddy 77 times in court documents related to Tupac's.
The record reflects that Mr. Davis is present in custody.
We can feel it, the tension, the whispers, the unease, spreading across the world of hip-hop like a wildfire. The courtroom is buzzing, the streets are talking, and the headlines can't look away. This time, it's not just another rumor or recycled conspiracy. No, this is something much bigger. Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most powerful figures in music history, is now accused of orchestrating the unthinkable, the 1996 drive-by attack on Shakur. And not just any attack, but one allegedly motivated by fear, rivalry, and a bounty so large, it could reshape the balance of power in the music world forever.
The only man currently facing charges in the case, Dwayne "Keefy D" Davis, claims that Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, paid for a hit on Tupac.
Reports claim that Diddy, desperate to protect his empire, allegedly offered $1 million, yes, $1 million, for the lives of Shakur and Death Row Records boss Suge Knight. A price tag tied to revenge, survival, and some say silencing a voice that had become too dangerous to let live. The accusations aren't new, but the details coming to light now are nothing short of explosive. It all started with a bombshell confession from Dwayne "Keith D" Davis, the so-called shot caller, who claims to have been at the center of it all. Decades after Shakur's tragic passing, Keith D's chilling words have resurfaced, dragging Diddy's name back into the spotlight. Keith D, who has been described as the leader of the crew that carried out the hit, revealed startling details in a secretly recorded interview with law enforcement. According to him, Diddy's fear of Suge Knight and growing hatred for Shakur fueled the lethal plan. In that recording, Keith D claimed that Diddy once declared, "I'll give anything for that dude's head," referring to Suge. The implication? That Diddy, a rising star in the East Coast music scene, felt cornered by the escalating feud between his Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records. Shakur's infamous diss track, "Hit 'Em Up," had only added fuel to the fire, publicly humiliating Diddy, Biggie Smalls, and their entire crew. Was this bounty on Shakur's life a desperate move to protect his legacy? Or something darker, a calculated power play to eliminate the competition?
Right now, Davis is fighting for bail ahead of his trial, which he has pleaded not guilty for.
The courtroom revelations don't stop there. Keith D's testimony paints a sinister picture of secret meetings and whispered deals. He alleges that Diddy didn't just make a vague suggestion, he put cold, hard cash on the table and left no room for misunderstandings. The bounty, Keith claims, was arranged through an intermediary, a man named Eric "Zip" Martin. Zip, known for his connections to both music and street life, reportedly provided the weapon used in the drive-by and was supposed to ensure that the money reached the hitmen. But here's where the mystery deepens. According to Keith, the $1 million payout never made it to his crew. Instead, rumors swirled that Zip pocketed the cash for himself, leaving the Southside Crips empty-handed and betrayed. This missing money raises a haunting question. If Diddy really did pay to silence Shakur, why didn't the money make it to the hitmen? Was this a simple case of greed and deception? Or could it be part of a larger, more sinister conspiracy? Some speculate that the missing funds were a deliberate move to cut ties and protect certain players from legal blowback. Others suggest that the bounty itself might have been exaggerated, a dangerous promise made in a moment of desperation, but never fully intended to be kept. Whatever the truth, this missing thread hangs over the story like a shadow, an unanswered question that keeps pulling us deeper into the rabbit hole.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
And then there's the courtroom drama itself, which feels like a scene ripped from a Hollywood thriller. Keith D, once untouchable, is now the last man standing, his former crew members either silenced by time or gone in a haze of street violence. His confession comes not just as a revelation, but as a haunting reminder of how far this feud spiraled out of control. Prosecutors have described him as a man who boasted openly about his role in Shakur's passing, even going as far as to detail the events in interviews and his own memoir. But why speak now, after so many years of silence? Could it be an attempt to secure leniency in his own legal battles? Or is this his way of finally unburdening himself of a secret too heavy to carry? The courtroom is electric as these revelations come to light. Keith D's words are heavy with implication, but the defense isn't backing down. Diddy's attorneys have dismissed the claims as pure fiction, a desperate grab for attention by a man with nothing left to lose. They argue that Keefe's story is riddled with inconsistencies and that no real evidence ties Diddy to the crime. But the prosecution paints a different picture. They say Keefe's confession is too detailed, too specific to be fabricated. They point to the timeline of events, the connections between Diddy, Zip, and the Southside Crips, and the undeniable tension between Bad Boy Records and Death Row in the years leading up to the attack.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
And let's not forget the larger context. The East Coast versus West Coast feud that defined an era of hip-hop and left a trail of devastation in its wake. Shakur and Biggie weren't just artists. They were symbols of a cultural battle that turned fatal. Their rivalry, amplified by media sensationalism, became a powder keg, with Diddy and Suge Knight pulling the strings behind the scenes. Was this feud the perfect cover for a premeditated plot? Or was it simply the unfortunate backdrop to a tragic misunderstanding that spiraled out of control? As we dive deeper into Keefe's testimony, the story takes an even darker turn. He claims that after the attack, Diddy distanced himself from the Southside Crips, refusing to take their calls and acting, in Keefe's words, scared. One alleged meeting between Diddy and Keefe in a Hollywood parking lot paints a vivid picture. Diddy, surrounded by women and luxury cars, avoiding eye contact, his body language screaming fear. Was this the guilt of a man who knew he'd set something terrible in motion? Or the paranoia of someone who felt the walls closing in?
Yes. He hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, Tupac. I ain't mentioned Biggie. That nigga ain't even talk to me for like 4 days after that. Everything with Pac, like, you couldn't say Pac was anything better than Biggie. You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie.
And yet, despite the weight of these allegations, Diddy has always maintained his innocence. He's called the claims ridiculous and baseless, denying any involvement in Shakur's passing. His supporters argue that he's an easy target, a wealthy, powerful figure whose name carries enough weight to make any story stick. But critics aren't so quick to let him off the hook. They point to his history of feuds, his alleged ties to shady figures in the industry, and his growing list of legal troubles as signs that there may be more to this story than meets the eye. Indeed, the timing of these accusations couldn't be more striking. Diddy is already fighting a legal battle on another front, facing allegations of misconduct that could land him in prison for life. The courtroom revelations about Shakur's attack add a new layer of complexity to his already precarious situation. Could these two cases be connected, part of a broader pattern of behavior that's finally catching up to him? Or is this all just an elaborate attempt to tear down a man who has spent decades at the top?
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence. David Willis reports.
For now, the answers remain elusive. The courtroom is a swirl of speculation, emotion, and unanswered questions. And as we sift through the details of Keefe D's confession, one thing becomes clear. If Diddy was willing to pay millions to silence Shakur, what other secrets might he be hiding? But if the allegations tying Diddy to Shakur's demise weren't enough, the plot thickens as we turn to the courtroom drama unfolding right now. In his ongoing trial for alleged trafficking and exploitation, a new layer of mystery has emerged. The prosecution's star witness, known only as Victim 3, has disappeared without a trace. Yes, you heard that right. This key witness, who is expected to testify about explosive abuses and provide damning insights into Diddy's sordid empire, has gone completely silent. Prosecutors admitted in court that they've been unable to contact her or even her attorney. Coincidence? Or something far more sinister?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, He was like an overnight guest. When they told his aunt,
The timing is too perfect or too suspicious to ignore. Victim 3 was reportedly prepared to reveal very personal and explosive details about Diddy's alleged criminal activities. These weren't just accusations of misconduct, but potentially revelations that could connect the dots between his alleged trafficking ring and the long-standing rumors of his involvement in Shakur's final moments. Was she silenced? Intimidated? Or is there something even darker lurking beneath the surface? We know Diddy has the resources, the influence, and some might say the motive to ensure certain truths never see the light of day. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That a witness who could have exposed everything is now nowhere to be found. The disappearance of Victim 3 isn't the first time Diddy's name has been connected to a witness mysteriously vanishing. In fact, over the years, several key figures linked to both Shakur's case and Diddy's controversies have either gone silent or faded into obscurity under suspicious circumstances. Take Eric Zip Martin, for example, the man allegedly responsible for delivering the weapon used in Shakur's drive-by. While Zip was often described as the intermediary between Diddy and the Southside Crips, he never faced charges and passed away quietly in 2019, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. Some speculate that Zip's untimely demise may have been convenient for those who didn't want the full details of the bounty ever coming to light. Others believe that Zip, knowing too much, may have deliberately distanced himself from the chaos to protect his own legacy and his life.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Adding to the mystery, there's the case of Orlando Anderson, the man widely believed to have pulled the trigger that night in Vegas. Anderson, much like Victim 3, was a central figure whose testimony could have unraveled the entire narrative. But his life was cut short in an unrelated altercation just 2 years after Shakur's passing. While officially dismissed as a street dispute, conspiracy theorists have long wondered if Anderson's demise was orchestrated to ensure he never spoke publicly about the real motives behind the attack, or about those who allegedly ordered it. What's even more unsettling is that Anderson's demise marked the start of a pattern, key players in this saga either vanishing or dying before they could ever testify in court. Is Victim 3 just the latest in a long line of people silenced by forces larger than themselves? This brings us to the curious case of the so-called Las Vegas Files, a collection of evidence said to have been gathered by private investigators hired by Shakur's family shortly after his passing. These files reportedly included surveillance footage, testimonies from nightclub staff, and even alleged audio recordings from that fateful night. While much of this evidence was turned over to law enforcement, rumors persist that certain pieces of it mysteriously disappeared. Some say these missing files could hold the key to proving who was truly behind the attack, and whether it was part of a larger strategy to destabilize the West Coast rap scene. The question remains, who had the power to make such critical evidence vanish?
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
And let's not forget about the role of law enforcement in all of this. The LAPD and Las Vegas Police Department have faced years of criticism for their handling of both Shakur and Biggie's cases. Accusations of corruption, mishandled evidence, and ties to gang activity have dogged these investigations from the start. Some even claim that certain officers were on the payroll of influential figures in the music industry, tasked with protecting the reputations of their clients at all costs. Could it be that the very system designed to deliver justice was complicit in covering up the truth? Or is this yet another layer of misdirection to keep us chasing shadows? Even more chilling are the theories that connect Diddy's alleged trafficking operation to a much larger network of power and influence. It's been suggested that the so-called freak-offs weren't just playgrounds for the rich and famous, but hubs for illegal activity tied to organized crime. Some insiders whisper about secret deals brokered at these events, involving everything from laundering money to silencing individuals who posed a threat. With federal agents now combing through the seized evidence from Diddy's homes, the scope of his alleged empire could extend far beyond what anyone ever imagined. If these connections are proven, it could blow the lid off not just the entertainment world, but also the powerful networks operating behind the scenes.
realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
And it doesn't stop there. Let's rewind the days leading up to Shakur's fateful night in Las Vegas. New whispers suggest that Shakur himself may have sensed that danger was closing in. Reports claim he warned Snoop Dogg, one of his closest friends and collaborators, not to come to Vegas that weekend. Imagine the tension in that moment. Shakur, a man known for his charisma and defiance, suddenly turning somber and protective. He reportedly begged Snoop to stay away as if he knew something terrible was about to happen. Did Shakur's instinct save Snoop's life that night? Or, as some speculate, did Snoop already have an inkling of what was brewing and quietly choose to stay on the sidelines? Snoop's later interviews only add fuel to the fire. He has admitted to feeling uneasy around Shakur in the days before the shooting, describing a sense of distance and mistrust. Could this have been guilt, a premonition, or did Snoop know more than he's ever let on? It's impossible to ignore the possibility that Snoop, like so many others in the industry, may have been aware of the tension bubbling under the surface, but chose to stay quiet to protect himself. After all, in a world where allegiances shift like sand and betrayal is just another business move, silence can often be the safest option.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
And then there's the FBI raid. If you thought things couldn't get any more twisted, buckle up. When federal agents stormed Diddy's mansions earlier this year, what they reportedly found sent shockwaves through both the legal system and the public. Among the items seized were hard drives, videos, and documents that prosecutors believe could blow the lid off Diddy's operations. But the most chilling rumors swirling around these raids are the so-called freak-off files. For years, Diddy's infamous freak-offs were seen as nothing more than wild parties, over-the-top gatherings where the elite of the entertainment world indulged in excess. But now, whispers suggest these events may have been much more than that. Some believe these gatherings doubled as meetings to broker deals, trade favors, and perhaps most disturbingly, silence enemies. Could these files contain evidence of payments, threats, or even arrangements related to Shakur's demise? Could they reveal the machinery behind Diddy's alleged empire of manipulation and control? And if so, how far does this web of deceit truly stretch? We can only imagine the kind of secrets hidden in those files. Secrets that could implicate not just Diddy, but others in his orbit, from industry power players to underworld figures.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
But here's where it gets even darker. Among the items seized were reportedly videos documenting some of the most controversial accusations against Diddy. These aren't just lurid tales of excess. These are alleged recordings that could corroborate claims of exploitation and coercion. It raises the question, if Diddy was willing to exploit and control those closest to him, how far would he go to protect his empire? Could these tapes contain the key to understanding not just his alleged crimes, but also his role in the larger conspiracy surrounding Shakur's demise? And yet, despite the mounting evidence, Diddy continues to deny everything. His legal team has dismissed the claims as baseless, calling them a smear campaign designed to take down a black mogul who rose to power in a system rigged against him. But for critics, this defense rings hollow. They point to the sheer volume of accusations, the eerie parallels between Diddy's current legal troubles and the rumors that have followed him for decades, and the chilling possibility that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Defendants, but there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendants, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial, which would force prosecutors to take him to trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial right.
So here we are, on the edge of a story that feels too big, too tangled to fully grasp. If Diddy's empire was built on manipulation, violence, and cover-ups, how many more secrets are waiting to be exposed? Could the truth about Shakur's demise finally come to light? Or will it, like so many unanswered questions in the world of celebrity and power, be buried forever? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this explosive story. Until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, and stay tuned.